This episode of the Blerd Mob contains explicit language. While we want everyone to enjoy the show, sometimes we may say things that are not appropriate for all ages. So, in other words, Mom, Dad, Granny, we cussing. Discretion is advised.
King G, Grow Site, ENT. Rock with it, rock with it, rock with it, rock with it. Let me pop my shit. Let me pop my shit. Hands up.
What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Blerd Mob, your hub for all things black and nerdy. I'm your host, Phthp. If you are watching this or listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other streaming service, or watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that follow/subscribe button so you can get more updates from the mob. Today, we are going to be doing a two-parter movie review on Spider-Man No Way Home. So joining the mob today, we got Ace and McMillian back from Gurren Otaku Council, and we got my boy Ralph. So what's up, y'all?
What's good?
What's
Excited.
up, everybody?
I am excited.
Same. Ryan was supposed to be here today, but unfortunately he is still traveling for the Christmas holidays. So we wish him safe travels. And I also hit him up about his rating on the movie. So we'll definitely have all 5 ratings to match up with the ratings that we stated in episode 9. So how I want to do this, boys, like I said, this is going to be a two-parter. Part 1 is going to be our impression/rating of the movie. Then we're going to go into what we didn't like. And then we're going to talk about some highlights. Part 2 is going to be full-blown discussion of the 2 end credit scenes, as well as theories of what we think is going to happen going forward in Phase 4, or even just Phase 4 going on. So, Spider-Man No Way Home dropped Friday, December 17th, 2021, or if you were so special, you got to see it Thursday, December 16th, 2021. So, last episode, our ratings, everybody gave it an 8 going into it, except McMillian, who gave it a 7.5. So now it's time to push out our true ratings and see if they matched up. And I just have to say, for me, I should have went 9. But my true rating is a 10. This was well executed, well crafted. We have talked about this movie for so long. We have been concerned about this movie for so long with everything going into it. And I have to say that they did it. This movie did not feel rushed, given all the pieces that went into this movie. And I am glad that I put my faith in Marvel on this one. I'm for real. Because it was so much stuff. It was so much stuff that we were just like, how is this going to work? Is this going to work? And the way they executed it, I don't know. I feel shame that I had to question myself going into this movie.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta.
I don't feel
question
shame.
times, you know.
I mean, it's not big shame, but I'm just, because of what we've seen them execute. I guess the hesitation is understood, but at the same time, after watching it, I was like, I don't know why I was so worried about it. Obvious, but still, after seeing it. But you guys know about me. When I go see a movie, the care factor is one of the biggest things for me going into this movie. And I cared. I cared for everybody. And everybody in this movie got a decent amount of fair time to make a decent amount of screen time to make an impression on me throughout this movie. So I have to give them kudos for that. And I can't remember what episode I said this, but they were deeming this movie Spider-Man Endgame, that this was going to be the equivalent of that. And I have to say that they can definitely call it this. It is fair to deem this Spider-Man Endgame. And I will go see this again. I will.
100%.
I will go see this again.
But sometime next week.
My
I
8
don't know
definitely
about
went
all
to a
that. I'm
10.
broke.
You
That
better
sounds
get
like a
in on
personal
that $5
problem.
movie day, Ralph. Stop playing.
That
Stop
sounds like a
playing.
personal problem.
Oh,
Somebody
but
cash out me $5 real quick.
not cash out. But
That'll be your Christmas gift.
oh. Everybody's
Oh my
saying Ralph
goodness.
$1 on Christmas, so he can go to $5 movie Tuesday. Snacks are not included, my guys, so you don't have to make that shit shake. But what about y'all?
That's me.
I get, I'm going to just get mine out the way because many of you may have already known. My big thing with the movie, and first I got to get my rating. My last rating was an 8. Like I said, I just like Portia, I wanted to go 9, but I just couldn't do it with all the moving parts before then, and so like she said before, I had to put my faith in Marvel, and Marvel came through. They delivered, so I have to give the movie a straight up 10 out of 10. With all the moving parts that it had in the movie, I was just wondering how, like she said, how are they going to do this? How are they going to pull this off? And indeed, they really pulled it off. I cannot complain about anything about this movie at all. Like after I watched the movie, I tried to sit down and think about it. I was like, okay, now what do I dislike about this movie? And I was thinking to myself, there's not really anything I dislike about this movie. There was only one part where I was like, but that's not even a dislike. It was more of a nitpick, and I'll touch on that later. But like I said, I just couldn't find one thing that I disliked about this movie, and it was just straight up 10 out of 10. Everybody got the screen time they deserved, and it made sense. It wasn't just like, here's these villains, just go do their own thing. Everything made sense. Everything had a purpose. Everything lined up. It was just bravo, Marvel. Bravo.
Yeah.
Did your faith? No, I mean, the faith work out. That's all I had at the moment before I saw this, but y'all pulled it off. And like I said earlier, I knew that was gonna go out with a bang because it's the most anticipated movie of the year and the last movie of the year. So I knew the movie was gonna be good. The question was
How
how good.
good?
And
Right.
but they hit a home run with this.
Yeah. So I obviously had the lowest of the
You gotta eat your words today, McMillian.
of the
Yeah,
pre-reviews,
I wanna hear what you got to say.
and I don't know if I got hate for that. I don't know. I don't look at the comment section right now, but I'll say this: as a Spider-Man fan, this movie 10 out of 10. As a fan of film, 10 out of 10. And it
Yes.
doesn't mean it's perfect, but this movie has reasons for someone to see it. Like this, I could sit down to a person who probably hasn't seen the Spider-Man and be like, "Look, this is a good film. It has callbacks, but it's that the callbacks don't overtake it." Like one thing I would say that probably that Endgame suffered from was like, look at all the nostalgia, look at all of this, and just sit with it. And in Spider-Man, they're like, "Well, we have." I won't say exactly what it has, but like we have this. Here it is, and this is how it fits into the story. And I loved that. Like, cause like folks said, you care about everything that happens in regards to this film, and it never stops feeling like you care. Like even the small, like A said it best probably. I don't have anything I necessarily dislike. There are small nitpicks here and there, and a minor plot hole that I thought of last night when I was saying, but other than that, they're so minimal to the overarching picture of this movie that I can't even like take them. They can't even be considered in the pointage of this film.
Correct.
Like my 7.5 was hesitancy because I'm used to. I'm a huge fan. Like if you've watched this podcast before, you know I'm a huge fan of X-Men. And the thing is, with X-Men, you get 2 good movies, and then on that third one, they try to fit too much stuff in, and it falls apart. And Spider-Man has suffered from that before, and other movies have suffered from that before. So I was a little bit more hesitant because I've been hurt. But this movie definitely delivers on every promise and more so. So with that being said, go watch it. And if you haven't watched it already before seeing this, but
please go watch it.
I would definitely give it a 10. It definitely deserves a 10. I love the fact that it was everything I anticipated it to be. I definitely feel like it was way better than Endgame, in my opinion.
Uh-oh.
Hold your comment.
Wait.
Hold your comment. Wait for it. Wait.
I saw Ace face and said, wait, hold up.
Wait. In my opinion, I feel like it was better than Endgame. Jesus.
I'm gonna let you.
You gonna let me
make
finish?
your point, Chief. Yeah, I'm gonna let
Please.
you finish. I'm gonna let you
Thank
finish.
you.
I said,
So,
whoa, wait. Let him get up.
The reason why I say it is better than Endgame is because it really pulled me into starting to like you know who, because I didn't watch his movies or things like that. So it was like that
You didn't
bringing
watch
in
whose
part of
movie?
We
the
can't
one that
say.
shall not be
Can't say too
named.
much.
You
Can't say.
yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sorry.
I didn't, yeah, like once I learned more about him in the movie, I was like, okay, you know, I can understand. I got that feeling, you know, of everything that happened, and I loved it. It was great storytelling. It was a few nitpick things that I had, was the common sense mainly of like throughout the movie. It was just really common sense things that they could have did. And so I feel like that would have just made the movie shorter. But you know, that's the whole point of a movie. You want to be able to get into it, discuss things with people, you know, figure out new things, just going forward. So I, in all honesty, other than common sense pieces of it, I loved it. I would go see it again, but I'm broke. Alex gonna cash out me $5 after this anyway. So I'm gonna go see the movie next week. Yay!
Merry Christmas.
But I don't want to.
No, this is what I want to do, because I know how this is about to go down. Ralph's comment, I want to save that for a hot take. We gonna come back to that.
Okay.
I'm gonna take what he said and I'm gonna put it in my pocket. I swear.
Okay.
I'm not gonna forget. But I know how this is about to go down. I just don't want it to go there yet.
Fair. Okay.
But Ron's score was a 10 out of 10, so that makes this 100% rating that we are giving this movie, which is the highest rating. It deserves it, and this is the highest rating that we have given the movies that we have done reviews on this podcast. So, and if you listen to any of our movie reviews, you know we are some hard critiques. We are some hard critics. So, giving this 100% should speak volumes to how good this movie is. So, let's go ahead and get into what we didn't like about the movie. And I'm pretty much in the same boat as you guys. I could not think of real reasons to have things to not like about this movie, but I did have some nitpicks that I was like, okay, sure. But one, some of the jokes, well, before we get into this, I do want to say that we are entering the spoiler part of the review. So if you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home,
spoiler warning.
Please drop off, go watch the movie, come back and listen to the rest. This is definitely not a movie that you want to hear from us. You need to go see it for yourself, then come back.
I agree.
So let's go ahead and get into these spoilers. First thing that I didn't like, let me say this, because Ace and McMillian, y'all tried to call me out last episode with this non-confirming Spider-Man folks gonna be in this movie. Y'all knew them boys was coming. Y'all knew them boys was coming. Y'all knew them boys was coming.
We knew they were coming, but it just wasn't confirmed.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Y'all knew them boys was coming. I knew them boys was coming, and y'all tried to doubt me.
It was really out there on the internet every time.
I didn't want you out here spreading information.
Yeah, you were just like, it's been confirmed that they was coming, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Who confirmed that? Like, what's
Marvel,
going on?
That's what I should have said. I was like, Kevin Feige called me and told me to tell y'all that Toby and Andrew was popping up in this movie. That's what I should have said, but I missed my chance to get my check.
For this episode and this episode only, he will be known as Andrew. Only this episode. Mainly just for the fact that people know who we're talking about. But
Oh my god!
But going back to what I didn't like, it's coming off the Spidey interactions. Some of the jokes during the interactions did run a little long, and some of them were kind of like, I see what you guys are trying to do with this. Let that shit go. Now, example number one was when they were on the Statue of Liberty, and they were all comparing, like, they're sharing Spidey stories at this point. And Andrew's like, oh, you guys are great. I'm lame. And then Toby's like, no, you're amazing. You're amazing. You're
I was like,
amazing.
no,
You're
right,
amazing.
you're lame. Stop
Toby,
it.
we get it. Stop it. Two things. They were trying to cheer him up because, as the general consensus is that we don't like the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. And one, him trying to cheer him up, I was like, okay, you're trying to make up for the fact that nobody really cares for his movies. And the second thing, with his movies being called The Amazing Spider-Man, and you're just sitting there, you're amazing. You're amazing. No, you're amazing. I was like, we get it. Stop. Please. But that was a nitpick, and it didn't take away too much from the movie. I think if they would have continued going with that type of approach, I probably would have been turned off at that point.
Yeah.
But, and then the second thing I didn't like, and this is a nitpick, but this is a really small nitpick, but why the hell did they give the Statue of Liberty a Captain America shield?
I was thought about that too. I was like, why
the hell?
Have a Captain America shit? I guess that was their tribute. I guess that was their tribute to him.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean,
America's hero, and they had to rebuild it anyways. I'm
not
mistaken.
Yeah. This is my whole thing, and me and my dad have talked about this. This man, Captain America, has been an enemy of the United States since 2016. We get all the way to 2023 in Endgame. He saves the world, and now he's America's hero? Y'all wanted this man for dead.
I mean, before all of that did happen, he technically was America's hero. Before he was America's fugitive.
But that didn't give him no pass, though. He was such America's hero until he didn't sign a piece of paper, and now he's a war criminal. They got to go hide in Wakanda.
I don't know what you want me to say. I don't. I thought it was a little weird too when I saw it. I was like, "That's a shield." Okay, well,
she holding this big ass Captain America shield, and I'm just like, "Why?"
Is there?
Why? Like, is this supposed to make us sad? Is this supposed to make us feel that Captain America's gone? And it did not make me feel. I was literally looking at it like, "What the fuck?
Right?
Why is she holding that?" And honestly, I'm glad they knocked that shit down. That's why. Why was it up there? Why was it up there?
Yeah,
but
and then it was just pretty much just covering the book, and I'm like, what was the point of her having a shield?
I just don't. I don't get the mindset of it. But maybe if it was like, I would give it if after Avengers 1, they was like, okay, Captain America's great. Let's give Statue of Liberty a shield.
Yeah.
But y'all waited all the way to here. I'm not. You know what? I'm a die on that hill. I'm not gonna talk about this no more.
I agree. It kind of. I mean, not to belabor the point, but it also kind of felt like disrespectful to Sam, because I was just like, so y'all got y'all Captain. It's not like he gone. Like the original is passed away, but y'all have a Captain America. But,
I digress. They don't respect that man.
I know they don't.
Somebody should have screamed in the theater, "That's racist."
Hey, tell me what this little off top. I get into the theater now, and then it's already assigned seats, but everybody is just sitting in the wrong spot. I'm like, y'all really chose to do this on this movie. Sit in your place and sit down.
Yo, it's people walking up and down, like we're like in the middle of the movie, and somebody gets up to go like refill their drink or something, and I was like, you want to do this now? You didn't guzzle down this drink during the trailers, and now like chill, like sit.
And now you want to try to go to the bathroom?
Please, I'm like, please sit down. It's people showing up at the beginning of the movie trying to find their seats. I'm like, yo, sit down. Like, sit on the
So
There was
steps.
somebody had a crying baby in my theater, and I just
Oh.
looked, and I was like, if you
Oh.
gonna
Oh,
shut that
no.
goddamn baby up, why would you even bring her to this type of movie? You should have got a sitter, or you sat
What?
at home with the baby.
Man.
I just don't understand.
Yeah, somebody took my seats as well. I had to prove to them that they were my seats. And I'm like, what are you
Folks
doing?
is
You're all the way in
crazy.
F. Get up to the top of the theater.
I just don't like.
We got off on
Okay, it just blows my mind. Like it's literally reserved seat, and everybody has an assigned seat.
It's not
Go
that
to the
hard.
dang own seat that you was assigned to. Like, I can understand it's about halfway through the movie now. You look back, you may see some few open seats or something like that. Okay, by all means, change seats then. But at the start of it, just go to where you're supposed to be sitting. Just go to where you're supposed to be sitting.
That's how battles get fought.
That's it.
that's how fights get started.
I almost thought
But-
one fight was going to start in my
Listen.
theater.
But
And I was about to say, start the whole movie over. It did. If it did, they did start fighting. Start it over from the top.
What
Right
nigga
here,
said,
right
bring
now.
that shit back. Bring that shit the fuck back.
well, what is it? To get us back on topic, I guess. Were you done with your dislikes for? Oh. So for me, like I said, there wasn't much of that many dislikes. Just a few nitpicks here and there. One of my nitpicks relates to the end credit scene. I won't go too far in depth with it, but earlier in the movie they explain how all the people made it to this world. As the one central rule is that like they know who Peter Parker is, or they have someone that's Peter Parker.
Here we
And
go.
I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but in a different movie, someone who does not even have any recollection or notice of Peter Parker is here. And how is he here if that's the case?
Yeah,
I
okay.
didn't think about that at the
That
moment.
didn't click.
but
I'm glad you brought that up.
You're right though. Yeah, that didn't click with me either.
It is the biggest clarifying issue I have with the film because it is such a huge, in my opinion, it's such a huge oversight. And like, granted, it's not like it affected the film.
Yeah, I feel you.
But
Well, I
That's
mean,
true.
but I was like the whole time watching, I'm just like, okay, so if that's the case, how is that person here?
But I
Yeah,
guess
I
I
feel you
guess
with
what
that.
happens after that, to not get too much into the scene, but what happens after that, you could kind of you could play
that's
it
why
off.
he was there.
Yeah, I can understand.
I mean,
I get it now,
Which
but it
also
doesn't.
that's part of my theory that we're
It
going
just
to
doesn't.
talk about though.
It just, in my opinion, doesn't excuse it. Is
No,
all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
I
that
feel
doesn't-
you. Like,
Yeah,
now
I
that you brought that up, and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you right about that. Like that.
That's one of
you making sense.
that's one of my
Yeah.
issues. The other one, I mean, this is such a small one, and I think it's only because these actors didn't sign up for like physically being in the film fully. Like Sandman being Sandman the whole time and not just being like I forget his actual
his
like
human
his
form.
name. Yeah, I was like, why is he Sandman this entire? Because he was at least confrontational. I just feel like you doing your powers the whole time is kind of weird. But I found out that the actor had it was something to do with the COVID restrictions apparently. So, but he was voicing his character. So, I mean, at least that was the thing. But that was just like a small. That was just like a small nitpick I had.
I was
Besides
wondering
that, though,
why he was Sandman the whole time.
yeah, I was just like, why are you doing this?
But I thought
you
they
have
were
a
doing
physical
it.
body.
I thought they were doing it because they were going with the whole thing of Peter trying to cure all of them, and I was like, okay, maybe he's staying Sandman the whole time because eventually they're going to do something to return, which they did. But
yeah, but it was more of a logistics issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But that was probably that. Those are mine too. Nothing really groundbreaking. Like,
well, I will get mine out the way. Like I said, mine is also a nitpick. At the scene with Aunt May when she said the famous words, I didn't like how they mixed up the famous words. Very small detail, but I just don't.
Oh, when she added in that extra word.
Yeah, I just didn't like when she said it, I was like, you could have just. It would have felt so much better if you just said it line for line. But you didn't, and it just kind of threw me off. Like it didn't, like it still kind of like had the same feeling, but
I get what he's saying because when she started saying it, I was like, she's gonna say it, and then she asked this extra word, and it's like, All
I was
right.
like, why would
Throw off
you
the
Kind of
momentum.
fell
like?
No,
flat.
because
Okay, yeah, like
yeah,
it's. I
Yeah.
still feel the impact of it, but I was like, I would have preferred
It would
if you
have
just
it
would
would
have
have hit
just
home had you
yeah,
said the line like we put it on the paper.
basically.
Right.
see what's so funny. I didn't even think about it, but when that happened, I was mouthing along with the phrase, and then when she added that word, it did throw me off too. I was like, what?
That's exactly what I was doing. I was like saying it as she was about to say it, and like when she didn't say what I was saying, I was like,
What we
"What you
doing?
doing, Aunt May? What are you
What are we doing?
doing?" Like I
I
said, it was just
I
very small nitpick
I feel
though.
you on that though.
Other than that, well, or did you have something else to say?
No, I was just
Mm-mm.
saying I feel you on that nitpick.
Other than that, I guess my other small nitpick, which is kind of like one of those common sense that Ralph thinking this might be one of his things as well, is why the hell did they not just push the damn button? But
But it
as he
wouldn't
said
be a
before,
movie. It
then
would have
yeah,
been
it
a
wouldn't be
movie.
a movie.
But this is my thing. I like that. I guess one of the big things that I like about this movie is that Spider-Man, this Peter Parker that we're exploring, has matured. Going into the movie, he's still the naive Peter Parker that we saw in Civil War and Infinity War and Far From Home, where he's just a kid and in his head, and sometimes it feels sort of as a game to him, not more so of a game, but a fantasy. Let me put it like that. That I'm a superhero, I'm an Avenger, helping people is what I do. You know, all of these greats have done all these things to help people, whatever. But at the same time, he hasn't seen the darker side of what that means and the choices that they have to make. So this was his moment for that illusion to be shattered for him. That you just can't help everybody. And
Yeah, I
it
mean,
was one of those things where he has to pay for it. That this is the lesson that you have to pay for. And he paid for this.
he did.
Yeah,
He
he
paid
did.
for this.
That he did.
I mean,
That he did.
to echo it a little bit, I wouldn't even necessarily say that it's that you can't help everybody, but it's more of like there are consequences to helping people sometimes,
Right, which
and they
Lizard
can.
tried to tell him. Lizard was like, you can go on this, I'm gonna fix you type thing, but there are consequences of trying to fix people.
Yeah. But like I said, if they did just push the button, it really wouldn't be a movie. And one of the main reasons why they didn't just push the button though is because MJ was like, we gotta believe in Peter. No, Peter wants to go along with this plan. We're not gonna push the button. It's the yada yada stuff like that. And then the surprise that happened after that. But
yeah.
Also, while I'm talking about MJ real quick, when the fuck was her name Michelle?
They said that in the first one.
The first
Yeah,
movie,
I must have
and
missed
this,
that. That must have flew
this
over my fucking
version,
head.
this version is not Mary Jane. This is Michelle Jones.
Yeah.
Right? Or Michelle? Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have flew way. I must have just.
They said
I
it
don't
at
know.
the end of
He
Spider-Man
lost
1
it.
because they had been calling her MJ through like the whole movie. So we were like, okay, Mary Jane. Then I think Peter or somebody asked for her real name. She was like, nah, my name's Michelle Jones. And I was like, okay, sure. But
Yeah,
Right.
I must have just completely missed that then. But that's all for me.
all right, Ralph.
I don't even think I should really say it because Alex, I mean, hit it on the head of the
Why
whole
why you didn't press
understanding.
I mean,
that's one thing that I had was why do you didn't press the button? If you press the button, everything can go back to how it was, and then Doctor Strange can just go and do it again, right?
yeah.
But that'll just cut the movie off.
Yeah.
The movie be pointless at that point. So I mean, I like the fact that they did have some controversy with it of, we believe in Peter and, we want to at least try to go with what he's doing, but the option was there.
It
At
was
the end of
there.
the
But
day.
then you have to look
It
at
was
the fact
there.
that they are still kids in high school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
So had this been anybody else, had this even been Captain America might have let that shit slide to a point.
Yeah.
But that boy was gonna press the button. Had this been anybody else, I think they would have press the button. But
Yeah, and I think that also goes to show for the fact that why they didn't really press the button is not necessarily a dislike, because as Portia said, you got to see Peter actually grow up in this movie and make these hard decisions and not just go with the flow. Like, yes, he could have pushed the button, but instead he said, no, I want to help these people, especially since the fact that when they're going to go back, they're going to die because of another Spider-Man. Why does it have to be like that? Why can't I'm Spider-Man and I'm supposed to help people, so why can't I try to help them?
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that was.
My other thing. What were you about to say, Ralph? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, I didn't have anything else other than that.
I was going to say that this movie may have slightly been a bit different had he not been one of the ones that got turned into ash in Infinity War. Because if he had experience watching the people close to him turn into ash, I think he would have gotten this movie and was like, oh no,
Yeah,
y'all gotta go. Y'all gotta go right now. But I think because he didn't experience it, he had to pay for that decision. But I think had this been the other way around and he had paid for it in Infinity War, he would have just went ahead and pressed the button.
Probably.
Yeah, I agree.
He probably wouldn't have as much qualms about it because he would have, like, he technically had to come to terms with Tony's death, but like imagining like if he had stayed and had to deal with the death of say 10 people, like 20 to 30 people that he knew or something like that,
right,
and came to qualm more with people's deaths, he probably wouldn't have been. Yeah,
5 years on that.
He probably would have been like, look, these people have been dead probably like a long time. At this point, what can I really do to help them? You know,
or he
because no one could have blamed him for making a decision like that. Like,
yeah. Shit, we might have not even got the movie. He might have not even went to Doctor Strange for that whole ordeal.
Yeah, maybe not.
All he had to
I mean, well, he would have been 5 years older, so he wouldn't be worried about college then. He probably would have already been in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Another thing is, all he had to do was go and talk to the advisor. That's it.
But they're high schoolers. They're high schoolers.
Also, not only that, the reason I don't have a problem with that at all, that is 100% something teenage Peter Parker would have done.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's just 100% something that a regular teenager would have done.
You mean to tell me I know this superpowered wizard down the street that knows magic, and you think I'm gonna call the advisors? You thought I was gonna be reasonable and call the advisors? No, I'm going to the sorcerer down the street.
What's funny though, my 24-year-old ass, when Doctor Strange said that, I was like, damn, I didn't even think of that.
Honestly, I agree. I was looking like,
because when he said that, I was like, I forgot you could actually do that.
And I've been through the college system.
Yeah, and I've been, like you said, I've been through the phase, and I was like, I forgot you could do that. Like,
everybody in the theater, everybody in the theater, like, damn, you could have called him. But this was way more fun. Everybody was like, but this was way more fun.
I like this outcome no better, so I'm glad you didn't call them. No, you made the right choice, Peter. Don't listen to him. You made the right choice.
All right. Let's get into these highlights, because I have several. And if there's anything that I missed in the highlights, we can definitely talk about them. But this is what I got on my list. First highlight I have is the Daredevil cameo. That was nice.
Yes.
They brought my
I must have missed that one. Go ahead and talk about it.
It's the lawyer. Huh? What do you mean you missed it?
Which lawyer?
Get him off the show. Get him off the show.
No. I'm talking about.
Get him off the show.
I'm sorry. I know what lawyer you're referring to now.
Ace.
Oh my god!
Look at me, Ace. Look at me.
I'm sorry. See, look at me. I was like 3 minutes late into the movie, so I was walking in as they was getting interrogated. Just 3 minutes. I mean, I'm going back.
He gotta go.
Again, so
he gotta go.
But I was literally walking in as they was getting interrogated, though. And that's why I was like, "What lawyer you talking?"
You know what? I'm not even gonna say nothing. This McMillian, that's your responsibility.
That's your responsibility. Listen, it was not my fault. My hair appointment lady was 1 hour late, and this was the only appointment that I had, so I had to get my hair done.
I can't. But
okay.
Daredevil makes a cameo after the interrogation when they hire a lawyer. Matt Murdock is the lawyer that they hire, so he gets his time to shine in the MCU. That's the only time we see him in the movie, but it was nice to see him back. And with
It
the
was
fact
such a nice scene.
it was
So
a
what-
nice scene. And
So,
what's up?
I was about to say, what I guess show or movie did he appear in? Because
He was in
I was wondering,
the
like, when he
Netflix
came on the
series.
screen, while everybody was clapping and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So the
Yeah,
I was
Daredevil
just like, I have no
Netflix.
idea who this is.
You remember when
so
Netflix
Marvel-
was doing all those Marvel series?
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil was one of them, and that's the same
Okay.
actor from the series.
The series.
Okay,
a lot of
'cause,
people.
I was wondering why everybody was clapping when he came on screen.
So a lot of people, when the Marvel Netflix shows got canceled, were very worried that they weren't going to keep the same actors for the cinematic universe, even if the characters would show up,
Mm-hmm.
because
Right.
all of them, I felt like did a very good job, except for Iron Fist, of portraying their characters. And so when people were like, "Oh, Matt Murdock is gone because the guy who played Kingpin is gone," but we actually got confirmation that at least those two are still going to be
Yeah, because I was
in the cinematic universe.
That's what I was about to say, because him showing up in Spider-Man and then Kingpin showing up in Hawkeye Wednesday, I was like, okay, this is nice.
Yeah, it was.
The next thing I want to get into is the first fight of the movie, and that is Doc Ock versus Spider-Man. That jump was nice, especially when the nanotech got on him.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
was not expecting that.
I was
I
not
wasn't expecting
expecting
it
him
either.
to hack Doc Ock's tentacles like that, but I was like, I liked this.
It
Yeah,
was
I was
such a
like, what?
nice little thing.
Such a
that happened.
smart Peter Parker moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when it happened, I was like, you know what? It makes sense because, our tech is way better than what their tech was back in the day. So it especially then it's nanotech, and he got it from,
Tony Stark.
Tony, and we already know how Tony get down. So.
Right.
Besides that, what I really liked about that scene was how fluid it all was. Like, it was such a nice use of the Doc, the arm thing, and then he had the iron spider suit on, and Doc Ock's phrase is like, "Looks like we got some competition." When he was talking to a central,
yeah,
we got some competition. I was like, this is so fun. This is a comic book fight right here.
Yeah.
And then the result of the fight with the Stanford lady, not Stanford, the MIT lady being like, "I'm gonna go talk to the people. You're heroes.
You are a hero. I'm gonna go talk to them." And then she starts fussing at Doc Ock. She said,
"Something you don't do."
She was like, "Listen, let me tell you something."
Yeah, no, that whole fight scene was lit. And then, like McMillian special said, Peter pulled out the spider legs and stuff like that. I was like, oh yeah, it's time. Especially because he was like, "Now I'm gonna go pay your girlfriend a visit," and Peter was like, "What you say, motherfucker?"
He was like, "Who? You gonna visit who?" And everybody in the theater, like, he's not talking about Zendaya. She's fine. Yeah. But he was like, "You went to who? That. You went to who?" But I do like that scene, and the other thing I like about the scene is that through the trailers, it shows the Green Goblin scene that we've been seeing in the trailers. So immediately I'm thinking that we're about to go straight from Doc Ock into Green Goblin, but I'm glad they cut it off short. Because the real shit, the real shit.
It was about to start.
But I'm glad they cut that. Glad they teased him, and I'm glad they stopped it right there. It was like,
I'm gonna be honest with you. Had they not cut it off right there, Peter was probably finna get fucked up right there.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah.
He was gonna press the button after that. He was gonna press the button after that.
Like, they had to cut that reunion out short because the way that man came in, like, he was ready.
He didn't come to play.
It was on sight. He wasn't gonna say no words.
As I said last episode, once Green Goblin come and see that man, is that Peter? Is that Spider-Man? Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but I know I said it enough off screen. I was like, Green Goblin gonna beat Tom Holland ass.
And he did. He did.
Oh yeah, and then I would also like to point out how a bunch of us was like the main villain we wanted to see just like get a lot of screen time and just wreak havoc was Green Goblin. At least that was
And
for
he
me. I was
did
like,
it.
I wanted to
He
see
did.
Green Goblin wreak havoc, and
him
that
up.
man
He did.
wreaked havoc. A little bit too much wreaking havoc. We're gonna get on that a little bit later. But
we watching the scene like that's enough.
It feel like I'm watching a WWE SmackDown moment or something right
a
now.
little bit too much havoc, but we're gonna get there.
I don't know if you guys have seen this on Twitter, but there's a video of William Dafoe when they first pitched the idea for him. He only wanted to do the movie under the condition that he could do his own stunts.
Yeah,
yes.
I watched it. After I watched the video, I seen it.
And
I don't know if I'd be saying that at 66 or whatever his age is.
But look at what he did, though.
Yeah, I know.
God,
I mean, listen,
damn.
Jay, if you still got it, you still.
If I still got it at 66, maybe.
And he showed you. Oh, he said, "I'm gonna show y'all." I'm gonna show y'all some.
But yeah, no, Green Goblin, he took the cake this movie. Like because like literally right before I watched that movie, like when I wanted to go see No Way Home, and when I was getting my hair done, the hair lady had on the first Spider-Man movie. And I was just, watching Green Goblin wreak havoc in that movie again, and I'm just like, damn, I'm really finna go watch this man wreak havoc again in the new movie.
He cut
up. And I was just like, this is what I wanted, especially when like you first see him after you first see him, and then he like disappears, and we first see him again in like the alley. Then he's talking to the Goblin. And I was like, that right there, like they still have all the same tropes.
That's
like,
what
this is pure Green Goblin.
And that's what I was saying. Like they gave everybody a decent amount of screen time that where they could play with stuff like that and actually think through this stuff. Because I was like, yes, all of the touchbacks that they did in the other movies, that they took the time to integrate this into the story that already exists. They did that. That was beautiful.
Yes, and I was just like, we're going to touch on how all the villains connect later, but I'll let you finish on your likes, Portia, your highlights.
The second highlight that I want to talk about, and this is another fight. This is Doctor Strange and Spider-Man fighting in the mirror dimension.
Thank you.
That was cold.
So we can talk about this together.
Yeah.
That was cold. And I think, and if I had to see anybody fight in the mirror dimension, I would pick those two, because with Spider-Man being able to like, Doctor Strange is like doing all the doubles in the mirrors and stuff, and then Spider-Man is just like, I can touch this, I can run in a circle, I can hang upside down. It was fun watching that scene come to life and seeing and seeing Peter think so quickly to deal with the fact that we're not like in a normal plane right now. And also seeing him dealing with the fact that Doctor Strange basically had the advantage, and him overcoming that was nice to see too.
What I really liked about that specifically, besides that, because that was a great point of it too, was when I was watching the trailers and they see the scene with the multiple trains, stuff like that, I thought that was like after the reality was breaking down.
Yes.
I did not think that was the mirror dimension at first.
Yes, like they played that so well in the trailer.
And I was like, this has such a different context now.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. I was like, it was great. It was that scene was so. They did not skip anything on the special effects budget for this movie. That whole fight, super frenetic, really nice, dope looking. At 10 out of 10.
That whole scene is the reason why I love Doctor Strange in the first place. Like the whole first Doctor Strange movie, you just get nothing but beautiful scenes like that. Like that's why I look, because like when Doctor Strange first came out in theaters, you could truly say that this was an MCU movie we have not seen yet before, with all the different special effects and stuff they was doing. But just to even get a Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange in this movie, I was not prepared for that at all. Like McMillian said, it gave a whole new context to the trailers and everything. And I was like, really did not expect Doctor Strange to be fighting Spider-Man in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
and that was like, this was the most extreme game of hot potato, because they were fighting for the box. And I was like, this is the most extreme game of hot potato I've ever seen in my life.
And it was going at it. But then on top of that, then when a little nice touch that they did, when Doctor Strange pushes Peter's spirit out of his body and whatnot, but yet his body, because as
That
we all
was
know, with
funny.
Spidey senses,
Yeah.
his
Well,
body is still reacting to
and then
Doctor Strange trying to take the box from
yeah,
him.
and then even then, if like you're an old fan, you know about the magic of the spider, like Madam Web and stuff like that. So there's even
Mhm.
more like a mystical side to it too. And I loved how they like that was such a subtle
He
hit
was
to
like,
that.
"How are you? Why are
You
you?"
How are you constantly moving?
do
Them
it.
Spidey
Yeah.
senses
And
is a
then
bitch,
Tom
boy.
Holland being like that high school kid, he was like, "Wow, that's so cool," and he's swimming back to his physical body. And like
But yeah,
seeing
Like,
it,
I,
like seeing that scene in Doctor Strange, like it was something we have never seen before. It was so mystical. It was like, oh my god! And then we get the Spider-Man, and it's a joke at this point.
yeah,
He was like,
yeah,
"Wow,
no,
this is so cool."
it's definitely one of my top 3 scenes from the movie, that Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange. Especially for the fact that, like I said before, I just did not expect to see them to tussle it out like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
they didn't necessarily like throw blows at each other, but like she said, it was a very vicious game of hot potato.
Yes,
yeah.
but the next highlight I want to talk about, and this is another fight. At this point, all my highlights are fights, but Green Goblin versus Spider-Man. So let's talk about how this unfolded. They show up in Happy's apartment, they're being lab buddies, and all this other stuff. Jamie Foxx has seen the arc reactor, so now we know how Jamie Foxx got a damn arc reactor. But they leave Lizard in the truck, and Lizard's in the truck, and Jameson, he shows up with his film crew, and they start talking about the police and stuff, and then Lizard's like, okay, and I was like, damn, he finna fuck the whole game up. So when Peter's spider senses go off, it goes off for a little bit too long for it to be Lizard. And I was like, if this had been Lizard or even had been like the police coming to get him, I was like, they have to bust in by now. But it was going on a little bit too long. And when you found out that it was Green Goblin, I was like, shit finna hit the fan. Because my whole thing was when they first found Osborn, when he was in his normal phase, and I was like, he's not gonna stay like that for too long, and I would be disappointed if he stays like this the whole movie. But the way that they flipped him, that plot twist, and the way he was just like he was like, we're gods or something like that, so he empowers everybody, and then shit just hits the fan. Jamie Foxx gets the arc reactor, and then it's just straight chaos, and it turns into Green Goblin versus Spider-Man. The first thing I want to touch on is that he throws the man out the window, and Tom Holland does his web thing. He grabs the web, pulls him back in the window, and punches his ass.
Punches him, yes.
I was like, ooh. So then he's punching this man through apartment walls. He done slammed this man on the floor through 2 floors. I'm like, yo, that's enough. That's enough.
He Batista bombed this man through like 5.
Yeah, threw him out again. Lizard comes with the fucking okie doke, throws him back in.
He said, "Oh, we thought you was done." Woo.
He said, "I told you there was gonna be consequences."
I was like, "Yo, they are really beating his. He's really beating his ass right now."
Legitimately,
yes.
I was in the theater with my with some of my best friends, and I remember at that moment turning to one of them and being like, I asked for this, but not like this.
Right.
Not like this.
Yo, it's like that TikTok when they was like, yeah, and the guys in the back was like, I think you got him. You want some of this?
Yeah, like I said, he, I wanted him to wreak havoc, but then he just started wreaking a little bit too much havoc.
I was like, yo, that's enough. I was like, we get it.
Like,
but he was
I knew he was
going in.
Like
I thought he was about to beat him within the
If you would have told me before I saw this movie that Green Goblin was going to body slam this man through 5 floors, I wouldn't have believed you.
But and it's the fact that William Dafoe did his own stunts. Like that took the cake. I was like, he did this. They did this.
I've always loved Green Goblin is one of my favorite villains in comic books, and I love for the fact that this movie reminded people why he is an arch nemesis of Spider-Man. Because the
Yeah.
man
And
is the
in
problem.
any universe, and the thing that touched it, I was like, in any universe, this man is a problem. He
A problem.
doesn't even know you, and he is giving you
but it's on
smoke.
site.
He is giving
Give
you
you
smoke.
the business. The business.
He doesn't even know you, and he is beating you like
He's
is.
beating you like he known you for 7 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like you, Tobey Maguire. Like no, dude, I'm not. But he went in, and it leads into my next highlight, which is Aunt May's death. When she got hit by that glider, I said, "Oh, it was a wrap."
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I
It's
said the
a
same
wrap.
thing.
I
As soon
knew
as
she
got hit
wasn't
by
living.
When
I
she
said it
got
was a
hit
wrap.
by, I was like, "Damn." I was like,
And they,
"Damn."
man, they did that scene
Because as
so
I said before,
well.
right before I watched this movie, I watched Spider-Man 1 movie. And how did Green Goblin die? By his glider. So when the glider came smashing through the
Mhm.
window, I was like, oh shit.
Very poetic. Very
I
poetic.
was like, oh my god, they're framing this frame by frame. It's not gonna end the same though. It's not gonna end.
No,
He's not gonna stab himself.
he.
When that happened, the aftermath of it too, I was just like, I was like, she acting fine right now. It's not gonna be fine. in
When
a couple
she
minutes.
dropped down to the ground, I said, "Yeah, this it."
Yeah.
I should have known. I should have known that this was the end for Aunt May when she said the words, even though she added in her little extra word into when she said the "great power comes great responsibility" line. I feel like something should have clicked in my head that this is not going to end well.
Man, the fact what also adds like to that scene, the whole thing is like the constant reminder of like these are the consequences of your actions
Mm-hmm.
from Lizard, and then like not only that, but the fact that he had to deal with the death of his aunt, but also like you're still public enemy number one to these people. When they came in shooting him,
Yeah,
I was like,
when they had Happy pulled up, they got the guns on Happy. They trying to shoot him to kill, and it's like your aunt has died. He can't even grieve properly in this moment. And I was like, you have to leave. It's like I feel you. You want to stay. This hurts, but you have to go right now.
Because they was gonna kill him.
I was legit I think I was like on the edge of my seat, or I perked up when that happened too, because I was like, P, you gotta move, bro.
I was like, you have to leave. Like this is real. This has gotten real.
Like, this is happening.
This is happening, and you need to get up. And I think the thing that I also like about this movie is that throughout the movies, I guess when he first started as Spider-Man, he always had Iron Man to fall back on. Or he always had some other person that he could fall back on to lift him up and to, face the problem. But this was like, you are alone. There's nobody coming to save you. This is you. This is all on you right now. And you have to go. Nobody but you can tell you to get out of this situation right now.
Yeah.
And
100%.
And you could see him battling that decision to wanting to stay with Aunt May and wanting to run. And it's just like, you have to go. The right answer is leave.
Yeah. When this whole fight happened, I did not expect to lose Aunt May in this movie at all. But then, like I said, as soon as I saw the glider coming through the window and like I saw it was heading for Aunt May, at that moment I was like, yeah, it's not going to end well. Because it was like McMillian said, it was literally like the same play on play from Spider-Man 1, but I already knew it wasn't going to end the same way. And then when it hit Aunt May, I was like, yeah, that's it right there.
That's
like
it.
she acting, like you said, she acting fine right now, but she hurt.
Yeah, because man, the thing that like really sets it apart is like in Spider-Man 1, he tried to take out Aunt May, Toby's Aunt May with like the bombs and stuff like that, like almost scared her half to death basically. But in this one, this is the experience him, and he's like, I'm gonna show you where this leads.
Yep.
Like I'm not playing around.
This ain't gonna end like last time, big dog.
Yeah, not at all. But one thing I do want to touch about, since we already in this scene, before we lead up to the scene, and we've been watching the movies all this time. Peter's going around grabbing up all the villains and stuff and putting them in their little magical prison box or whatever. The whole time I'm thinking, well, we know from the trailers and stuff that these people get out. My question is, how are they going to get out? I did not expect it to be.
And you didn't think it was going to be Peter.
Dime. Yeah, I didn't expect it to be on Peter's dime, which brings back to point of that this movie was well written.
But
Yeah, it was.
These people got released because Peter started caring for them. Peter didn't want them to die, and
Right.
I guess
because of that, he was like, "It's either stay here and die, or come with me and hopefully live."
I think the other thing that kind of had me having the same question that you did, Ace, is when they got put in the magic boxes, and I was like, okay, this is not like prison. This is a magic box. Like, how are you guys going to get out of a magic box and go wreak havoc? And I was like, the only explanation that makes sense is that they let them out.
Mhm.
Since we're talking about that thing, not to cut you off, but one of my favorite parts of that scene is when Peter hits Doctor Strange with the magical teleportation thing or whatever, and he gets put in the same cell as
It's Sandman.
Yeah, Sandman, and he just walks through, and Sandman is like, I can do it now too. Oh,
Yeah, that
Oh, I
was
love
hilarious.
that.
Like, he really
That
thought that
was a
this
nice
man's own
tidbit.
prison was gonna keep him stuck in there. Like, you
Right.
couldn't have thought that.
And I love everybody's reaction to magic because they didn't
Yeah.
have that in their universe. So Doc Ock was like, "Magic? We in a what?"
We're in the wizard's dungeon.
Jamie Foxx, we in a wizard's dungeon.
Who mentioned Dungeons and Dragons? Which one of them mentioned
I think it
Dungeons
was
and
Zed.
Dragons?
Jamie Foxx.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That right there was funny.
Because when Peter was like, when Peter was asking him, come with me, Jamie Foxx was like, I'd rather go with you instead of stay here waiting for some guy to playing Dungeons and Dragons to come back. Something like that. Which was hilarious. And I was just like, yeah. That was like, once you think about it, it's like, that might be the right decision.
Might be the right decision. Because you don't know nothing about these magic people or what they got going on.
And Doctor Strange was gonna send your ass back. So
Hello.
I mean,
so I'm gonna go with the
with
kid.
no remorse.
So the next highlight I want to talk about is, and I'm just gonna call this the Spider-Verse, where Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire enter the movie. And I think I personally like this scene because the way that it was executed, that it wasn't just them popping up. Like, they've had a grand opening, but it wasn't like that dramatic grand opening that I was thinking it was going to be with, like, Tom Holland has to face all five and then they just pop up and everybody's like, ah!
Yeah.
I like that they were introduced through the side characters, through Zendaya and Ned. And I like how comical it was. Because they're just playing around with Doctor Strange's ring and then they just start coming in. And I like when Zendaya was like, prove to me that you're Spider-Man to Andrew. And he was hanging off the wall. He was like, nah, I think it's good enough. She's like, no. I need you to crawl. I think that scene was them being introduced to the different Spider-Mans and them getting an understanding of who this Peter was through them. I think my favorite part of that interaction was they were worried about Peter, and they had saw all the wreckage that happened at the apartment complex, and they was like, we can't get a hold of him. We don't know where he is. And then they look at each other. He's like, well, we are Peters. When we get upset, we have a place that we like to go to contemplate. And that's how they were able to find them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like you said, just the way they came in was just beautiful because, like, they didn't just bring me in, like you said, just while he was just already fighting villains and stuff, and they just pop up. Oh yeah, I'm Toby. I'm Andrew.
We're
it
Spider-Man.
It was right after a scene where Peter was down bad. We had just lost Aunt May, and Ned and MJ just at Ned's grandma's house, which I'm assuming is also Ned's house, and they're just like, oh, I wish I could see Peter. And at that moment, Ned was moving his arms around. He made a little small portal, and he was like, do that again. And he was just, oh, I wish I could see Peter. And, once he was doing it, I already knew what was going down.
Yeah.
And, like, as soon as that portal opened, I was like, here it is right here.
I think
it is right here.
I think the other thing that I like about that scene is that they were already in the universe.
Yeah, they was already in New York. Yeah. I agree.
Instead of, let's open a portal to another dimension. Well, we already did that. Now it's they've just been here the whole time. And I like the fact that Toby was already looking for him. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
one of the other biggest thing I like about this movie is that Tobey being the wise Spider-Man mentor. Because when he showed up, he was like, I'm looking for your Peter. The other Peter was like, I don't know what's going on. I was in this one place, now I'm here. You're Peter. No, I'm Peter. I'm confused. And then Tobey's like, forget all of that. Where's your boy? I need to find
100%.
I need to find them.
Let me holler at him.
Yeah.
I also like that little trade off that happened too between Andrew and Toby in
And
the
you know,
house.
man, listen, you already know how Toby rock, man.
Yeah, I already knew Toby was about to get him.
You already know how Toby rock. Well, he's the original.
They showed up and swoop, 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 swoop. I was like,
Swoop,
wait.
swoop, swoop. And I'm like, wait. Grandma in the corner,
Then-
like, please just get the
Then
cobwebs.
Grandma was like, clean this up.
Real talk.
But going even further than that, when they do get to Tom Holland, I like the advice that they give to them because they give it from this is where we get the touch back into their other movies where
Mm-hmm.
Andrew understands his rage, and in his universe he's acted on that rage to the point that he doesn't even like who he is anymore. So he's telling him from the side, like, I understand your anger and your pain, but you can't go this route. And then Toby
Right.
is being more of that older mentor to him, and I was like, I like this. I like that with them all being Peters, they are the best people who could understand them, but they're understanding him from different perspectives and different ages
Mm-hmm.
at that point. And I was like, yes, this is nice. I likes this. And I like it even going forward with the last Tom Holland Green Goblin fight, when Tom Holland was just letting that man have it. Like, he's unleashing all of his rage on Green Goblin. And I liked the fact that it was Toby that stopped him. And Toby didn't even have to say anything. He's looking at him like, bro, you don't want to do this. You do not want to do this right now. I like that it was him that stopped him. Because I was like, yeah, he finna kill this man. If y'all don't hop down here right now,
if y'all don't do something,
he's about to kill. He's about to kill this man. Like, when he lifted up the glider, I was like, yeah, somebody got to get him right now.
Yeah, because had they actually let Tom Holland actually go through with it and kill the Green Goblin, we're like, for future Spider-Man, we're getting a whole different Spider-Man from this point on.
Yep.
Like, because now he done actually killed somebody on purpose, not even just like on accident. Like, he willingly went and killed this man. Now Peter's just going to be filled with nothing but regret and anger for who knows how long. And it just would have been interesting to see how that could have played out. But like you said before, I am glad that it was Toby that was the one that stopped him, though.
Because it was more of that older mentor. Because if it had been Andrew, I was like, Andrew, get your ass out the way. But I think
this ain't your moment.
But I think it spoke volumes with it being Toby, because Toby is the first Spider-Man, and he's dealt with the Green Goblin, and it was just like, this is not, and he's fallen to that low point. Like, he was explaining when they were talking about like their different relationships, and they're watching Tom Holland and Zendaya, and Andrew's like, I'm not really talking to anybody. And he was like, Toby's like, well, it was hard because of the events that happened in his movie. He was like, it was hard, but we made it work. So you see, because he grew through all of that, it was like, nah, dog, let's not do this today.
Right.
But to rewind, my next highlight was the final fight, because that was lit.
The whole thing.
My favorite scene was when the spider, they had to regroup because they realized they weren't working right.
Yes.
And they had to regroup. And after they regrouped, when they were all running, like, Spider-Man, go! And then they start, webbing through each other, and it's like they're in sync. And I was like, hell yeah, that's the shot. You ever watch a movie and you see something so phonetic, and it's like, that's the shot.
That's the shot. That's the one that people.
That's the shot. And I was
Another,
To
like,
me,
well,
you can easily
yeah,
tell who the OG Spider-Man was too,
yeah,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and how he
Another
was
thing,
swinging.
another thing I really enjoyed about that scene, like right before they start swinging, though, is that look. You guys don't know this, but I've worked with the Avengers, and they're like, "That's great.
great.
That-
Who
Who
is
are
that?
they?"
Andrew's like, is that a band? And I was just like, yo. He was like, I've worked in a team before. I'm an Avenger. He was like, wow, that's great. Who's
Who's
that?
that?
It was great. The other thing I wanted to bring out is Andrew's redemption scene. And I felt for him on this. When Zendaya fell and Tom Holland couldn't catch her, he was like, no, you had seen it on his face, like, I cannot let this happen again. And he caught her.
Yeah.
And it was the fact that this MJ didn't know what he went through. So she's looking at him like, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, but you see him internally in pain.
It was such a bittersweet success. Is basically what I
Right,
said. I was like,
right.
you can tell that he was happy he made it, but at the end, like in the back of his mind, it's like, if only it
If-
was Gwen.
Right. And I was like, I felt him on that. I was like, there you go. In some sense of form, it's kind of like giving him more of that you can be better. That if they ever say they made another movie after this for Andrew Garfield, it was like, okay, you do have some redeeming qualities. Because he was saying how he was all angry and stuff and whatever. And I was like, you can do good. You can turn around and, make up for your mistakes.
Yeah. What would have been fire, and I think was a missed opportunity in that exact scene when he went to jump down to save MJ, is if they did like the same little shot from Spider-Man 2, like with the webs, how the web was animated and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They would have pulled that back out again. It would just, it would have been, it just would have been.
I would have been mad. I was like, you're going to kill her again? You're going to kill her again? Didn't you learn?
Because like now, because in my opinion, they would have did that. You really get that true like, we can't let this happen again feeling. Because once you start seeing like all resemblance of the old movie with this, how this the
but
web
I think
starts
that might have
forming
been
like a little hand and stuff.
I think that might have been the reason why he didn't do it. Like as he's seeing her
he knew
fall,
it didn't work.
because when he did it the first time, it didn't work. She died, so it was like, I have to save her, but I cannot use these. I'm scared to use these because of what happened last time.
I feel you. I just think it would have been clean as hell, though.
You're not wrong. Wrong. But
it would have been
I
cold.
think for his character, it definitely made more sense for why he didn't do it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I completely understand it. You're making sense. 100%. We're here.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it would have been clean.
That final fight was nice. I'm glad they knocked that shield off the Statue of Liberty. I am. But I got 2 more highlights, and if there's anything that I missed from you guys,
honestly, you touching everything that I probably brought up.
You pretty much on it.
You hitting them. That's why I've been trying to get my pieces in as you've been bringing them out, because you hitting them.
The next thing I want to talk about is the multiverse by Doctor Strange. When the Earth started cracking open and you could start seeing the other Spider-Man villains, I was like, yo, please tell me that scene reminded you guys of Loki.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And when I
that's all I was
saw
thinking about.
That's all I was thinking about. And that's one of my theories that I want to get into when we start talking about theories. But I was looking at it and I was like, yo, the Earth is about to shit on itself right now. But it was and the way that how it looked, like with the multiverse cracking open, it looked like, I love the colors and the vibrancy of it, because it made it seem surreal. Like the Earth is cracking open at this point, like the universe is splitting, and the way you show the universe splitting, I was like, yeah, the impact of it. Instead of like, because we've seen like the Earth splitting in half and it's lava and it's magma, but this was like that mysticism type, 3-dimensional type splitting. And I was like, yeah. I also like the fact that he used runes So the only time that up to this point, the only time that we've seen runes was in WandaVision, when Wanda was using the runes to fight Agatha. So seeing how he uses runes and whatever just opens like the door of like more abilities that Doctor Strange can do, like what all Doctor Strange can do.
Yeah, the whole
And
magical
also, what
connection.
else does he know how to do now that he doesn't have the time stone? So now we're seeing all of the other different type of magic that he can do. And I was like, okay, I likes this. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on is Peter Parker erasing himself from everybody's memory. That broke my heart.
You finally understand why the movie's called No Way Home.
It had to be done.
It had to be done. But his goodbyes, I was like, oh my God. Him saying goodbye to his friends.
But
like that whole scene, still plays upon the whole point we've been making this whole time we've been talking is, these are the consequences of your actions, Peter.
That's why I said he paid. He paid for
because
this.
of what you chose to do. Like you could have avoided this, but because you wanted to be, the Mr. Nice Guy, sometimes there's always not nice endings, and here we are.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah. I think the thing that hit hard for me with him being erased, he did have the MJ scene where he was going to go, explain everything back to her. I'm glad he didn't do that, but I think the scene that hit hard for me is when he goes to visit Aunt May's grave and Happy walks up beside him. He was like, you know her? Like, who was she to you? And I was like, damn, yo. Like, you can't even...
that really hit.
Like, you can't even tell this man that this is your aunt and you were her nephew. And he has to come up with a lie.
I was one of the people that helped. Yeah, she was just like, I was one of the people she helped, and I hope to like just pay that forward.
Yeah,
that was like really nice. You touched on it a little bit, but the Zendaya, the MJ moment when he went to go get coffee, I really enjoyed that scene. It hits hard for me because up until the point where she like brushes her hair back, and you see that she still has a wound from the whole.
That's when he changes his mind.
It's when he changed his mind. I thought that was such a nice, subtle way of him deciding, like, maybe it's better if they don't know who I am because of the whole Spider-Man thing. I was like, that's such a hero, like a Peter thing, a move that he would do.
And you definitely see him mature at that point as well. Because when we see him, he's still that hyper energetic Peter Parker that we've been experiencing in these past two movies. And then when he decides not to make that move, it was like, okay. He is maturing.
Yeah, the change set in. Basically.
Yeah, we definitely got to see him grow from the start of him fighting Doctor Strange and being able to adapt to different things all the way throughout the movie. We definitely just saw him grow greater and greater.
I told y'all he was going to have to nut up in this movie. I didn't think they was going to make him nut up like that hard.
Oh, no.
That
Ace realized something.
I just had an epiphany.
Not an epiphany.
I just had an epiphany. Oh man, I'm waiting my turn though.
All right. What is it? Theories? You got some?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it theory, but so you guys remembering how in the Shang-Chi episode we was talking about like, why was Wong the one that showed up with Shang-Chi and all that stuff instead of Doctor Strange? And I just thought about it. It's because Doctor Strange is no longer the Sorcerer Supreme. It's Wong now. That's why Wong was the one that showed up.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that was a funny little thing.
It's clicking now. Like it like they just clicked for me, and I was like,
I like how they, explained that. He was like, I thought you were the Sorcerer Supreme, and Wong was like, well, when you go missing for 5 years.
Wong, which makes sense, basically.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now.
Basically, so yeah, like that, and that whole fact about that how he wasn't the Sorcerer Supreme anymore just really caught me off guard. Like totally, I was like, oh wow, like you're not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore. Wong's the Sorcerer Supreme now. Like, okay, this is interesting.
When
and then
said,
as I was
what
just
a role
here,
reversal.
When they said it though, I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like if somebody was else next up in line, of course, it would be Wong. So it's 100% that it passed on to him. It's just I just wasn't expecting it.
Same.
Mhm.
I thought he was still Sorcerer Supreme, and it was like, no, when you go missing for 5
Nah.
years. And I was like, he just has a point.
Which also brings us back to the point that we're still dealing with all the effects of the blip.
Yep.
We're still dealing with the ramifications of that. But yeah, I just had that small epiphany. I just had, that was the reason why Wong showed up in that Doctor Strange.
Do we have
I
any
have a
more
small curious
highlights?
question.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, I have a small curious question of did they mention or like another Spider-Man in the movie?
No,
Well,
but they did
they
make a
tease
cheeky.
Miles.
Yeah,
They
they
made a
teased
cheeky thing,
Miles,
My
and that
theory.
was
and
that
I'm
was
like,
such a fun
yes,
one. That was
My
such a fun one
yes.
because Jamie Foxx was he was
He was like, you
"Were
help
you
the
from Brooklyn?
poor,
You
you
help
from
the poor."
Queens. I just thought you was gonna be black.
Oh yeah,
And Andrew's
Queens.
response was like, I'm sorry.
Sorry, man. Sorry, man. He was like, man, it's gotta be. And
I
then
loved
Jamie
it.
was like, it's gotta be a black Spider-Man somewhere out there. And I was like, he is.
He
He's just
is.
not old enough.
He is
He's just not there yet.
It's okay.
coming soon.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
Right.
To a theory near you.
A
Coming
theory.
soon.
But if there isn't any more highlights, we're gonna go ahead and end this right here, boys. So I want to thank you guys
Oh wait,
for.
wait.
Damn,
wait.
Ralph.
I just remembered. So one of my highlights was actually the joke that Andrew had with Ned when they was in the lab.
The
Yes.
best friend thing.
Yes, the best friend thing.
That was him and Toby.
That
though.
right there.
That was him and Toby.
Oh, that was.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Toby.
He was like, "Does Spider-Man have a best friend?" He was like, "I did have a best friend. Unfortunately, I had to kill
But
him."
I killed him.
Because he tried to kill
He tried to kill
He tried
me.
to kill me.
And he
And
looks.
the whole scene when Ned walks over to Tom, and Tom's just looking like, what? And Ned's just like,
And then eventually,
I'm gonna just do my work,
and then eventually
and I'm
before he
going about my
leaves,
business.
yeah, and eventually before he leaves, eventually he was like, I just want you to know I never tried to kill you. And
I'll
Tom
never
was
try
like,
to kill you. It's like, thanks.
Tom was like, what?
Yeah.
That was funny.
I do
But
want to
that
just
was
touch
good.
upon a little bit real quick, even though we already talked about it though, but just the climax, like it was just beautiful. As you all know, my saying is, if ain't no other part of your movie is good, your damn climax better be good. And the climax of this movie was just over the fucking top.
Mhm.
It was just great. I couldn't ask for anything better than how they did it. I mean, the three Spider-Man versus all the villains. What more would you want? What more could you want? Seeing their teamwork and everything together. As Foop said, that one scene we got when it was all swinging together and stuff, like
Heck
that was
yeah.
just
That
was
was-
lich. Like I was like, yeah,
I was like, hell yeah, let's get this shit,
That was
boy.
the moment. You're like, yeah, let's get it popping. Like, okay, we here, let's
We
go.
here now,
And then
let's
when
go.
they like, especially when they all landed, then you got that shot of all three of them in
Yes,
the frame and stuff.
that's
I was
the
like,
shot.
yeah, yeah, that's it right there. But yeah, just that whole climax was just from beginning to end.
Amazing.
10 out of 10, the climax. I couldn't ask for nothing better than that.
I definitely agree.
But other than other highlights, I think you pretty much hit up all of them. And then Ralph just brought up the last one I was thinking about, which was the the scene in the lab and stuff. So I think, at least for me, I think that's everything I got. I'm trying to see if there's anything else.
That's it for me.
What about you,
Hoop touched
McMillian?
on them all. Hoop touched on them all. Y'all brought in the other ones, and I got to sprinkle the minor ones here and there in our conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Like the teasing of Miles. If no one brought that up, I was going to bring that up.
Oh, I
no,
was going to bring that up.
I'm going to bring it up because that's part of my theory, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Well, if for real this time, if there's nothing else, I do want to thank all three of you guys for being a part of part 1 of Spider-Man movie review. Also for everybody listening and watching, for staying the whole time. Part 2 is we're going to be discussing the end credit scenes as well as getting into theories. And we're going to discuss Ralph's hot take on if this movie was better than Endgame. So, for those listening / watching, make sure you follow us on social media. We are the Blerd Mob Pod on Instagram. That's at TheBlerdMobPod. We are the Blerd Mob on Twitter, and on YouTube and Facebook you can find us at the Blerd Mob Podcast. So this is the Mob checking out. Peace.
Hands up if If you love him where you at, stand 10 toes down, shawty, ain't no looking mad. You can let them haters hate.